draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Ben Roethlisberger.
Play action, Roethlisberger looking.
This morning, new details from a Georgia police report on NFL star quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. The two-time...
I've wanted to apologize to them for so many things.
I was nervous the first time around. This time I was having fun. Did you?
Us athletes, we're human.
Yeah.
We sin like everyone else, and I am no different. We make mistakes. We get addicted to things. We sin. We're human.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we get put on this pedestal where we can't make mistakes.
Right.
We do. I've fallen as short as anybody. I've been addicted to alcohol. I've been addicted to pornography, which makes me then not the best husband, not the best father, not the best Christian I can be.
Meet Ben Roethlisberger, a 6'5", 240-pound quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 7 slanting on the front and back of the barrel chest of a gunslinger that has 2 Super Bowl wins and has started 21 NFL playoff games. He is one of 6 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL to have beaten at least 31 of the current NFL teams. Going into his 16th season, Ben Roethlisberger has proved at least vocally that he has now reached a high level of maturity off of the field as well. Through that process, there have been a few growing pains, such as if Ben Roethlisberger was a good teammate, and then 2 more shocking allegations that will always cast a shadow as he closes out his career in black and yellow. The question is, was Ben Roethlisberger, a now devoted Christian, family man, and locker room mentor, once a predator who was disrespectful and honest? Or did the fame and stardom of a humble kid from a modest town in Ohio lead to fabricated stories from those who accused him of appalling crimes? Make sure to take a minute to like this video because this video is definitely going to get demonetized, and as a result, YouTube will not promote it in the algorithm. We're also giving away $500 to a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. Now that we got all that out of the way, break! Ben Roethlisberger loved to play all sports growing up. Most of his time was spent outside playing basketball, baseball, and football, where on several Ohio summer nights he would imagine he was John Elway throwing a 40-yard pass for a touchdown. He held a natural athletic prowess more than likely passed down from his dad, who was a college athlete himself. His dad enrolled at Georgia Tech University as a quarterback, but eventually became a pitcher for the school after injuries ended his football career. Tragedy, however, came into Ben's life early on. It was a Saturday morning and Ben Roethlisberger, just 8 years old at the time, was playing in his front yard at his father's and stepmother's house. It was a typical Saturday. Ben was waiting for his mom to come and get him to spend time with him, as she, Ida, had custody of Ben every other weekend ever since Ben's dad and her had divorced when Ben was just 18 months old. The day grew later and later, and his mom not showing up was very uncharacteristic of her. Then the phone inside rang with the tragic news that Ben Roethlisberger's mother was in a terrible car accident. She passed away a few days later. At that moment, Ben Roethlisberger grew the thicker skin he is known to possess with having to deal with the loss of a parent at a very young age. Ben continued to apply himself in sports, playing football, basketball, and baseball through high school, and excelling at all 3. Ben has even said several times that he owes a lot of his skill to his stepmother, Brenda, whom he now considers his mom. Her dedication of spending hours outside with him working on his craft in any and all sports really made him the athlete he is today. Ben was a standout quarterback in middle school and in junior varsity, but when he reached varsity as a junior, standing in his way was the coach's son, who was the starting quarterback for his Findlay, Ohio high school team. Rather than sit the bench, Ben volunteered to play wide receiver as his 6'2", 150-pound frame seemed to fit the high school offense nicely. For his senior year, he had grown to 6'5", and with the former starting quarterback now attending college, Ben was finally given the opportunity to play quarterback. Finally, he put up eye-catching numbers, throwing for 6 touchdowns in his first game, and then following with games of sometimes 7 and 8 touchdowns along with numerous passing yards, first catching the eyes of University of Miami of Ohio at a camp the summer before his senior year. They officially gave him an offer after that outstanding first game. Later into his senior season, several Division II schools showed interest, and then the big ones followed as Ohio State and Duke started inviting Ben Roethlisberger on recruiting trips by the end of his senior season. The powerhouse of Ohio State, just an hour and a half from his hometown, would seem to be the logical choice for an all-state and nationally ranked quarterback. But after the head coach did not recognize him just 1 week after his recruiting trip, as Ben approached him in a Charlotte airport, Roethlisberger brushed the Buckeyes aside and stuck with the school that had been loyal to him from the start, the University of Miami at Ohio. In Oxford, Ohio, Ben redshirted his freshman year, and in his second year put up passing numbers that would be his iconic stat for years to come. By Ben's third collegiate season, he led the Redhawks to an unbeaten record in the MAC Conference, a national ranking as high as number 10, and a victory over Louisville in a bowl game. In February of 2004, Ben Roethlisberger was headed to the NFL Combine, where scouts compared Ben to other MAC players. He looked huge and fast, even next to the top NCAA talent. He also developed a good rap with teams because of his personality. He took the game seriously, but also showed he could enjoy his situation and had a relaxed presence when he was on the field. Then, an above-average Wonderlic score came as well. Ben Roethlisberger from a mid-major school was predicted to go in the first round of the NFL draft. Ben was a member of the iconic 2004 draft that featured Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning, which was so good that it was compared to the 1983 draft class of Dan Marino, John Elway, and Jim Kelly, a class destined for Hall of Fame stardom, just as the 83 group. Due to the trade involving Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning, Ben was the highest drafted quarterback that year that played for the team that drafted him, that team being the Pittsburgh Steelers, as they selected him 11th overall. Steelers head coach Bill Cowher coined him their franchise quarterback. In Ben's rookie season, he quickly became the starting quarterback after injuries moved him up to the second string, and followed by his poor play by the starting quarterback, persuaded Bill Cowher to place his franchise quarterback into a game a little bit earlier than expected. He excelled immediately, taking the Steelers on a 13-0 run, and was voted unanimously as the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year by the Associated Press, the first quarterback in 34 years to earn that honor. In just his first season, the Steelers, behind Ben Roethlisberger's cannon, made it to the AFC Championship where they lost to the New England Patriots. In just his second season, a young Ben Roethlisberger at just 23 years old carried his team all the way from the wildcard game to hoisting the Super Bowl trophy high above their heads as the Steelers beat the Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl 40. Through the post-Super Bowl late-night talk show interviews and the magazine covers, there were whispers of Ben, although a great leader on the field, was perhaps not the best teammate in the locker room. Ben in interviews down the road brushed it aside as he was all business, there to win and didn't have the time to learn the details about his teammates, such as asking about a rookie's dog's name. In a Sports Illustrated article from 2017, former Steelers running back Jerome Bettis, who played with Ben Roethlisberger in 2004 and 2005, said, "A lot of the success came really quickly for him. It was hard for him to manage that and be one of the guys. He had to insulate himself to a degree because of the scrutiny he was under. There were some incidents where he wasn't the best teammate. Then came the off-the-field issues, and that's where things get really dark." In the season after his first Super Bowl win, Ben Roethlisberger was involved in a motorcycle crash while riding his 2005 Suzuki Hayabusa without a helmet near downtown Pittsburgh, where he flew into a car's windshield and hit the pavement head first. The accident left him sprawled out in the road, laying in blood, but luckily with no internal or life-threatening injuries. However, Ben Roethlisberger remained in the hospital in serious condition for some time with a broken nose, a broken jaw that had to be meticulously repaired during a 7-hour surgery, a 9-inch laceration to the back of his head, missing and chipped teeth, and minor injuries to his knees from hitting the pavement. It was an accident that could have been a lot more severe or even deadly. Ben Roethlisberger missed the season opener in 2006, not from injuries sustained in the crash, but from an emergency appendectomy. Talk about an offseason of bad luck. Roethlisberger would continue to be a dominant quarterback for the next several years, leading the Steelers to another Super Bowl victory in the 2008 season, in which at the end of the game, Ben Roethlisberger found Santonio Holmes for a remarkable grab in the corner of the end zone to give the Pittsburgh Steelers a 27-23 Super Bowl 43 win over the Arizona Cardinals. Ben had another Super Bowl appearance in 2011 and continued to be a regular starter through the beginning of 2019, when a season-ending elbow surgery sidelined him for that season. Now, edging near the end of his career but still an active player and the presumed starting quarterback for the Steelers for 2020, Ben has an overflowing trophy case, being named a Player of the Week for 17 times and a Pro Bowler 6 times, all while breaking numerous passing records in the NFL. And in for a bust in Canton as a part of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, there is the stark reality that Ben's life hasn't been all confetti and celebration, as serious allegations have been reported against Roethlisberger, in addition to him personally coming out to say that he has struggled with alcohol and pornography addiction. And that's where this all starts. In July of 2009, a woman by the name of Andrea McNulty filed a civil suit against Ben Roethlisberger, requesting a minimum of $440,000 in damages, and also named in the suit of 8 employees of a Harrah's hotel located in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Within the suit documents, it read that Ben Roethlisberger had sexually assaulted the woman in his room at that hotel a year earlier, and that the employees named had covered up the assault. Ben was in Lake Tahoe at the time to play in a celebrity golf outing. The story was that McNulty, a casino hostess, was asked by Ben Roethlisberger about getting his penthouse room television fixed. After not being able to reach her boss, she said that she, herself, went up to the room to take a look at the television. She went on saying in case number CV090222 that once she entered the room, Ben grabbed her while holding her against her will, kissed her, and pushed her onto a bed, and then, well, you know the rest. In the documents, McNulty said that she communicated her objection and a lack of consent with saying she begged, "Please don't." Now, Ben Roethlisberger and the hotel both denied that this occurred. In August, a former co-worker of Andrea's said in an affidavit that she had bragged about sleeping with Ben Roethlisberger after they had a brief encounter. The attorney for McNulty offered to drop the suit if Roethlisberger would admit guilt of the assault, donate $100,000 to a charity located in Reno for abused women, and also pen an apology letter. It was rejected by Ben's attorney, and the case was eventually settled out of court in January 2012, with the terms of the settlement never being divulged. Then, in 2010, Ben Roethlisberger again was accused of sexual assault, this time in Georgia. During that spring, he owned a home on a lake not too far from the town of Milledgeville, home of Georgia College and State University, a small liberal arts university. It was in that small city north of Macon, Georgia, on a March evening. Ben and his friends were out at restaurants and bars celebrating his 28th birthday that had occurred a few nights before. Ben was in rare form in a college town, buying drinks for several groups of girls, speaking in crude language, and even setting up shop in a makeshift VIP area in the back of one dive bar. However, Ben's testosterone-filled night of debauchery in a small town, Georgia, would quickly catch up with him. In the Milledgeville Police Department statement formed for a witness, an unnamed woman but confirmed as a 20-year-old college student wrote that after numerous shots at a nightclub named Capital City, Ben's bodyguard escorted her to a stool in a hallway where Ben came around a corner with his personal private parts hanging out of his pants. When she tried to escape through the first door she saw, which was a bathroom, Ben Roethlisberger followed her in, shut the door, and, well, did the deed while she was saying, "I really don't think this is okay," and then he left. Her 3 friends also wrote statements that supported her story. Within the police case file were also recorded tapes of the student telling her story, and investigators released footage of Roethlisberger at a club with music blaring, asking a girl what her drink tastes like and doling out high fives, plus punching his fist in the air and flashing a huge grin for the camera. Pictures obtained from media outlets later on showed Roethlisberger wearing a black shirt with an image of the devil on it, posing with two girls, one whose face is blurred out as it was the accuser. Roethlisberger's demeanor in this photo, well, he looked very intoxicated. However, after the investigation began and the district attorney visited the woman's home for statements, she made it very clear, alongside her lawyer, that she didn't want to proceed with her account. Then a letter was received by the district attorney on behalf of the alleged victim, stating that she was not recanting her accusation, but rather was afraid that the trial would be a very intrusive personal experience due to the extraordinary media attention it would receive. The district attorney did not end up pressing charges. However, the NFL did take notice of this second accusation and investigation and suspended Ben Roethlisberger for 6 games for violating the personal conduct policy. The suspension was later reduced to 4 games, and the Steelers made their 3rd appearance in a Super Bowl under Roethlisberger that season, losing to the Green Bay Packers. By the next offseason, Ben seemed to have mended his wild and crazy ways. In July of 2011, Ben Roethlisberger married Ashley Harlan, a former collegiate softball player and a physician's assistant who would often spend all day in heart surgeries. They had dated on and off for 6 years, but Ben was finally ready to settle down. Ashley was a woman of deep Christian values from Newcastle, Pennsylvania, not too far from Pittsburgh. Ben stated to the Associated Press shortly after their wedding that he did not marry to clear up his image, saying, "People will always have opinions of everybody and me, and that's fine. They're entitled. People can say that, it is whatever, but people who know and can see and are around us and know me know that it's something special when you find that person, and I'm extremely lucky. I try to protect her as much as I can. People have gone to her parents' house and have been doing things. That bothers me a little bit because it is what I do for a living. I have to deal with it, but her parents and her, that's not what they have to do." Ben and Ashley now have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, which they are proud of and are committed to raising them in a Christian home. In 2013, Ben was honored by the Steelers for his community outreach efforts and donations, along with his outstanding play on the field when he received the team's Walter Payton Man of the Year award. He has continued to be dedicated to community outreach. Just this past year, the Roethlisbergers teamed up with the nonprofit organization Convey of Hope to distribute almost enough food and COVID-19 relief supplies to support 1,500 families in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Ben has continued to be a solid quarterback, dedicated father, and has opened up more to his fellow teammates and the media in the last few years. He also recommitted himself to his faith, getting baptized 3.5 years ago, and is not afraid to share about his past transgressions, although opting not to speak on specific scenarios.